Good morning, everyone. I'm Vidar Aspehaug, CEO of Kaldvík, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the presentation of our fourth quarter results for 2025. Joining me today is our new CFO, Hjalti Hvítklett, who will introduce himself shortly. Together, we'll walk you through the key highlights and developments from the past quarter. After the presentation, we'll open the floor for questions, and as before, you're welcome to submit them by email to qa@kaldvik.is. But first of all, you know this, so let's move on. So here is the updated management team with Hjalti Hvítklett stepping in as CFO, and I will leave the word to him to introduce himself.
Thank you, Vidar. My name is Hjalti Hvítklett. I started here in Kaldvík in the beginning of February. I live in the Faroe Islands and will be commuting to Iceland. I have my education in finance from the University of Aarhus in Denmark, and I worked within the fish and aquaculture most of my career, most recently at Nordic Aqua Partners operating in China. I'm very happy to join Kaldvík at an exciting time for the company, and I have already experienced a strong team with a clear ambition, and I'm looking forward to contributing going forward. I'll hand it back to you, Vidar, and I'll return later with the financials.
Thank you, Hjalti. So, today we'll begin with some key highlights from the last quarter, covering operational updates, financial results, and strategic updates. Then we'll look ahead with a brief outlook and summary before wrapping up with a Q&A session. And as I said, if you have any questions, please send to qa@kaldvik.is. So, throughout the presentation, we have put the respective 2024 numbers in brackets behind the 25 numbers to give you some reference. And for the Q4 highlights, in the fourth quarter, we harvested 7,943 tons with a group operational EBIT of negative 10.6 million euro. The main reasons for the negative results are early harvest of the 24 generation due to winter wounds, resulting in lower average weight, a low superior share, combined with a challenging market situation. I will comment further on this later. For the full year 25, we harvested a total of 17,105 tons compared to almost 15,000 tons in 24. Looking ahead in 26, we will be harvesting 6,500 tons in Q1 this year, mainly from the 24 generation, and we're maintaining our full year harvest guidance of 17,000 tons. As announced to the market, the company is in a challenging financial situation and has requested a waiver from its banking partners. As of today, we're in a constructive discussion with the banks, and we expect to conclude the issue within the end of Q1. Strategically, the government's published legislative agenda indicates that the new aquaculture bill is expected to be introduced shortly, so we'll comment further on this later. The license that we have been awaiting approval in Seyðisfjörður is still pending, and the strategic review of our production model, aiming to reduce risk and improve stability in our operations, supporting our long-term goal of producing 30,000 tons, is still ongoing and expected to be concluded no later than May this year. So to the 2024 generation. Within our farming operations. And as already mentioned, we decided to initiate early harvest of the 24 generation due to an unacceptable situation with winter wounds. We were very optimistic for the 24 generation, as this was the first generation to receive the tailor-made vaccine towards winter ulcers. However, it's now clear that this has not been enough to solve our problems with wounds. As previously communicated, part of the 24 generation had a challenging release in the late fall due to delays and a dramatic and early drop in sea temperature. And on top of that, the winter 24-25 was extreme with an unusually early start of winter temperatures and significantly lower temperatures than normal throughout Q4 24 and Q1 25. The figure on the right illustrates this, showing the temperatures for these quarters for 24-25 compared to the average temperature since 2010, shown in blue. Surprisingly, we saw wounds starting to develop in the growth season on rising temperatures in Q3, and the situation escalated in Q4 25. As a result of this, we decided to harvest the 24 generation, starting with the most severe cages, aiming to harvest the complete generation as soon as possible. So by the end of Q4 in 25, 62% of this generation had been harvested, and by the end of Q1 this year, we expect to have finalized the harvest of almost the complete 24 generation. The consequence is that the 24 generation will generate approximately 5,200 tons less harvest volume than anticipated, mainly due to lower average weight. Also, the superior share ended at 41%, affecting the price achievement. So the disappointing results with the 24 generation had a major impact on the financial situation of Kaldvík, and it's pretty much the main reason for the financial challenges we are in currently. Looking at the 25 generation, things are looking better. And as of now, we are ahead of plan, and the fish is with good health. The 25 generation was a milestone output for Kaldvík, reaching 8.25 million smolt, and we had a successful transfer with acceptable mortality. Even though the 25 generation has the same vaccine as the 24 generation, we have had much more favorable temperatures this winter, closer to normal temperatures for the east fjords of Iceland. The red line in the figure at the right illustrates this, showing that the temperatures above we had temperatures above average in Q3 last year, and significantly higher temperatures than 24 throughout the period. As of now, we are seeing good performance with good growth and an overall good health status. And at year end, we had a cumulative mortality in the 25 generation of 9.3%. So in 26, 61% of the total harvest volume will be from the 25 generation. To elucidate a bit further on the importance of the temperature we are seeing at 25 compared to the normal 24 temperatures, I have included an illustration to show the difference in growth given a starting weight of 500 grams and 6 months growth at the respective temperature profiles for these 2 years. The specific growth rate is highly dependent on temperature, and as illustrated in the figure on the right, the specific growth rate in 25 has been higher than in 24 throughout the last 2 quarters. With an average specific growth rate of 0.58% in 24 and 0.82% in 25, we get 330 grams more growth in 25 compared to 2024. Given a 5 million fish scenario, this would result in a total difference of 1,655 tons production. On top of this, the fish is in better condition. Then some information on harvesting and sales. In Q4, we harvested almost 8,000 tons with a record volume, which is a record volume for Kaldvík and for our harvest facilities. We had single-day harvest volumes up to 245 tons, which is the highest we have had. And the increased harvesting capacity was partly achieved by the addition of stun and bleed capacity and partly through operational optimization at the harvest site. As we're all aware, there have been and still is a volatile market situation with respect to salmon prices. And despite the low superior share of 42% and early harvest of the 24 generation, the overall price achievement ended at 6.01 euro per kilo for the quarter. So that concludes the operational update. Now I'll pass the word to Hjalti, who will walk you through the financial updates.
Thank you, Vidar. First, we have the highlights from the quarter marked by a relatively high harvest volume, but low prices and low superior share. As Vidar already mentioned, operational EBIT for the group was negative by 10.6 million euros, and EBIT per kilo amounted to negative 1.33 euros during fourth quarter. This is driven by different factors, mainly lower market prices, high costs due to early harvest, and low superior rate. Revenues reached approximately 48 million euros. Despite the low superior share of 41% and the early harvest of the 24 generation, the overall price achievement ended at 6 euro per kilo for the quarter. Total assets lowered by 22 million euros during the quarter. This was primarily driven by higher harvest and therefore lower biological assets. Total liabilities decreased by 10 million euros in the quarter. This was primarily driven by a significant decrease in trade and other payables. Equity ratio is 55%, and it's the same as we had in Q3. Net interest-bearing debt increased by 6 million euros during the quarter. EBITDA was negative by 7.2 million. The change in working capital amounted to 11 million euros, primarily due to lower biomass at the end of the quarter. Capex investment during the quarter amounted to 2.1 million, and financial items amounted to 4.4 million euros. As we have announced, the company has requested a waiver from its banking partner. As of today, we are in a constructive discussion with the banks, and we expect to conclude the issues within end of Q1. We will provide quarterly company updates, while financial reports are issued semi-annually with half-year and full-year reports. Next company update for the first quarter is scheduled for May 21st, and the next financial report will be issued for full financial year 25 on April 30th. For further information about the financials for the fourth quarter and year-to-date numbers, please refer to the appendix section. In October 25, Trøndelag District Court rejected the minority shareholders' request for a special investigation regarding the acquisition of certain strategic assets completed in March 25. The decision was not appealed, and the matter is concluded. Thank you, and I will hand it back to you, Vidar.
Thank you, Hjalti. Then a short status on strategic updates. Regarding the ongoing process with the new aquaculture bill in Iceland, the government's published legislative agenda indicates that the bill is expected to be introduced shortly. While consultation drafts have circulated, the final text has not been yet formally presented. We're monitoring developments closely, and once the final framework is publicly available, we'll assess its implication carefully and communicate further once we have completed that evaluation. The new license in Seyðisfjörður is still pending, and regarding the ongoing strategic review of our production model, we expect to conclude no later than May this year. The review will give us a clearer basis for long-term decisions and support a more robust and predictable production model going forward, lowering risk and lowering cost. Then a bit about what to expect going forward. And as already mentioned, and as you're aware, the market situation for salmon is volatile and hard to predict. Still, forward prices indicate a promising market in Q2 and Q3 of 26 compared to 25. For Q1 in 26, we expect to harvest 6,500 tons, and the majority of the harvest this quarter will be from the 24 generation. So we expect to finish the rest of the 23 generation and the majority of the 24 generation this quarter. In Q2, we will start the first harvest from the 25 generation, which is performing well with good health. The total harvest volume for 26 is expected to be 17,000 tons, and from Q2 onwards, we will be mainly harvesting from the 25 generation. So to summarize, I will conclude with the outlook and key points going forward. We have had challenges with winter wounds in our 24 generation and have initiated early harvest that we are looking forward to put behind us by the end of this quarter. The 25 generation looks much more promising and is ahead of plan with regards to growth, and harvest from Q2 onwards will be mainly from this generation. We harvested and sold a total of 17,105 tons last year and ended with a record high harvest volume of almost 8,000 tons in Q4. As a result of the challenging biology in the 24 generation, the company has requested a waiver from our banking partners, and constructive discussions are ongoing, expected to be concluded within Q1. On the strategic side, we are still awaiting approval of the licenses in Seyðisfjörður, and the strategic review of our production strategy is ongoing and expected to be concluded in May this year. We are still seeing volatility in the market, but forward prices for Q2 and Q3 are promising compared to 25. We maintain our guiding of 17,000 tons for 26, with a harvest volume of 6,500 tons for Q1. We will conclude our presentation here, and we're now open for questions. And as mentioned initially, please send questions to qa@kaldvik.is.